The US dollar is set to suffer its biggest weekly decline in 2 months against the euro this Friday as indicators of a decline in inflation and a potential economic downturn in the US raise the possibility of a rate cut. The euro gained 0.9% against the dollar this week, breaking through the $1.0855 resistance level and rising to $1.0895 on news of a slowdown in US inflation. The euro was trading at $1.0861 after annual US inflation figures for April were in line with forecasts, but fell from the previous month. This development strengthened the belief that the Federal Reserve could cut interest rates in September and December, which fueled rallies in stock and bond markets and put downward pressure on the dollar. Other economic data, such as U.S. retail sales remaining unchanged in April and manufacturing production falling unexpectedly, also contributed to the dollar's weakness. Westpac strategist Imre Speiser stated that, in addition to inflation, there was a general cooling in economic activities, which led to the selling of the dollar. Despite market expectations that interest rates would be cut in Europe starting from June, recent data pointed to some positive surprises. Germany's economy grew more than expected last quarter and investor sentiment reached a 2-year high. The Australian and New Zealand dollars have each gained more than 1% against the US dollar this week. In particular, the New Zealand dollar had its strongest week of the year, increasing by 1.7%. However, the Australian dollar, trading at $0.6675, has retreated from a 4-month high following an unexpected rise in unemployment figures, which could reduce the likelihood of further interest rate hikes. The New Zealand dollar held steady at $0.6120 as market participants looked ahead to next week's central bank meeting, where the official cash rate is expected to remain at 5.5%. Meanwhile, the British pound gained 1.1% this week to $1.2664 and the Japanese yen was steady at 155.48. In the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin was up 6.6% this week, trading at $65,343. Investors await the release of Chinese retail sales and industrial production data later in the day, with final European CPI figures scheduled for release later on Friday.